Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 135 of my gaming show, where once a week I just have to talk about video games, whether they're new video games that I'm playing today, old video games that I grew up with, it doesn't matter. Video games. And today we are talking about video games that I would really like to see remade. Now, we're not talking the HD upgrade and thing like that. We're talking about the ones more of the Final Fantasy VII remake, where it's just like ground up, rebuilt, and all that stuff. I don't think I would ever do an episode on just like remasters I want. You could do that with any video game that hasn't been remastered. I would take a remaster of it. Better visuals? Sure, that would be dandy. But these are games that I want more than just a graphical upgrade. So we'll be discussing those games today. But before we discuss that, let us discuss what I've been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what y'all have been up to over whatever amount of time. What games are you diving into right now? What movies have you checked out lately? And are you watching any TV shows? Let me know about them as I let you know about my stuff. All right, let's talk Invincible. Season 3. I stayed up till 3 in the morning waiting for the final episode to drop, and I watched that son of a bitch. It was awesome. Great season of Invincible. I'm really not a fan of the weekly episode situation. Really just takes me out of the season. You know, I gotta wait a whole entire week. And, if like I had more people that were watching Invincible and we could discuss it, but even that conversation, it's not a week-long conversation, you know what I'm saying? It's, oh, hey, where are you at in Invincible? And they're like, oh, I'm caught up, and you're like, oh, shit, right? And that's pretty much where it ends right there. And yeah, so I gotta sit there. It doesn't really work for me. So next time, I'll probably just wait for the whole entire shebang to get done and then dive into it and just get it a more complete viewing experience. That's how I would recommend it. Overall, though, I liked the season a lot. It was great. There was some twists. There's some paths that look like they're gonna go down that are very neat, and I can't wait to see how that all unravels. The ending of the season, they're setting up a whole bunch of shit, so we know there's going to be some more Invincible, which is fantastic. And yeah, man, I enjoyed the ending. It was pretty gruesome. You know, there was some shit going on there with Adam Eve. I was just like, oh my goodness, that is aggressive. But highly recommend Invincible if you have not checked out the show. It's a fantastic show. It's a little bit violent, but damn fine show. Damn fine show right there. I hit that season with an 8 out of 10. Probably be higher if I could sit down and just watch the whole thing in like 2 days, but it took like 7 weeks. So there we go. So we're done with Invincible. So we started watching Drive to Survive. Just put the golf show down. My wife's like, nope, it's F1 time. So we're diving into F1, Drive to Survive season freaking 7 they're on now. And yeah, right back into it. Freaking drama. People, I mean, if you, I'm just going to say it, so if you don't want to hear a spoiler, but fucking Lewis Hamilton leaving Mercedes, that's the big deal right now, and he is going, where the fuck did he sign? He signed with Ferrari, I think it is, which is wild. So the whole season's like, oh, who's going to get the next seat in Mercedes? And I just find it incredibly awkward that, like, Lewis Hamilton made his decision to leave Mercedes and drive for Ferrari, but he still has to drive for Mercedes that whole entire season. So, like, kind of awkward, right? Like, it's just like, yeah, we know this guy's leaving us, so, like, hey, Lewis, like, fuck us, right? Oh, whatever, but that's going on. There's been drama with the bosses, the fucking evil Red Boss, the Red Bull boss man. He's fucking, I knew that man was evil, man. I know that man's evil. He's done dirty things, and it's going to come out one of these days. But he's riding some waves right now, which is fun because I know that man is evil. He is pure evil. He's got children in his basement. I can tell. I just know it. He's a bad man. But a good show right there. Crushed a handful of episodes, and it's F1, baby. It's F1. And that's it. That's all I've watched. I wanted to get a movie in, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait for Invincible Season 3 instead and finish that off. So no movie this week, but there's so many movies coming out that I want to see that they've already come out, but they're coming to like Prime and shit, like Anora. I cannot wait to watch that movie. I heard so many good things about it. Wicked is coming to Prime as well in a couple days. I know my wife wants to check that one out, but she's like, oh, there's going to be songs in it. I'm like, yeah, it's got Ariana Grande in it. Of course there's going to be songs in it. We're going to have to get, she's not a big musical fan, but I'm like, it's, we got hurt by, I don't know if anyone's checked out the remake of Mean Girls. Like it's a fucking musical, and we were devastated by that. We're like, why the fuck did they turn it into a musical? So we just turned it off. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to tarnish what is Mean Girls, how important and special that movie is to me. We didn't want to ruin it, so we didn't watch the Mean Girls thing, but I want to check out Wicked. Ariana Grande, so pretty. Love that girl. She's so fine. So we'll be checking out Wicked at some point, but no movie this week. So let's talk video games. So after I finished Avowed, I was looking for something to dive into, and I chose Life is Strange True Colors. So this is a game that's been on my radar for a long time, been on my hit list, and it's leaving the PlayStation service. So I was like, well, there you go. There's my motivation to get that game done, and I loved it. Oh my goodness, man. True Colors, that's a banger right there. I couldn't believe how I crushed this game in like 2 days. It was just so freaking good. If you don't know what True Life is Strange is, I only played a little bit of the first game, and we didn't love it. So didn't finish that one off, but this one's like way more story interactive, feels almost like a Heavy Rain. You're just kind of walking around, interacting with shit, having conversations, choosing, what to say and stuff like that, but delightful, absolutely delightful. I love the setting. You're in this beautiful mountainy Colorado little town, and it's just awesome. There's a little mystery going on, some controversy, and you're trying to figure out this mystery, but man, this episodes, it's like hour and a half, 2 hour episodes, 5 of them, and I couldn't get enough of it, man. Oh my goodness, I just loved it. At one episode, you just like you spend one whole episode just LARPing, you're pretending to be like a wizard with this kid, and it's really awesome. It was a delightful game. I now understand why they were so high on it when it came out. And yeah, I finally got to it, and it was fucking awesome. Definitely going to be a game. It's definitely in my Xy's contention list because, man, this game was absolutely delightful. Did it do, like, I can't really score it higher than like an 8 out of 10 because, like, I just really enjoyed my time with Life is Strange. Really fun story, charming characters, just... yeah, man, engaging. I love, like, it's another one of those games, like, at the end of the episode, they leave you on just outstanding cliffhangers. You're just like, what? Oh my God, I have to start the next episode. So that was such a well-paced, fun game to go through. Really highly recommend Life is Strange True Colors. Now, I know there's the next game came out, and it isn't as, definitely didn't review as well as True Colors. I don't know if that's like the same character, if your choices are, if it's connected to this game at all. Regardless, I would still try that game if it was free, but this one, absolutely. True Colors, highly recommend. Check that one out. It's got through it in about 10 hours, 2 hours per episode, 5 episodes, and it's delightful, man. It is a delightful, really just... great game. You could play it with, your wife. Just be like, hey, let's do this I wish I played this one with my wife. I didn't know it was going to be like this interactive of a story. I thought it was going to be more of I feel like the original Life is Strange games, there's a lot more like, gameplay, like actual stuff you're doing. Like there's gameplay in this one, but it's a lot more just like talking to people and making decisions and shit. Regardless, a hell of a great time with Life is Strange. Highly recommend it. I'd hit that with an 8 out of 10. And I started playing WWE 2K24, getting that itch. It's WrestleMania season. Normally it's WrestleMania season. WrestleMania is getting pushed back into later April this year. It's usually early April, but yep, I get that itch for some wrestling, and I had the 2K24, started playing that, and decided to jump into My Rise. I think that's the new mode or something. I don't know. I dove into that. Fucking downloaded Kenny Omega, playing as Kenny Omega, become the WWE champion, and then I hit a wall. I had to do a casket match with Kane, and apparently it's unwinnable. I tried. I was like, oh man, I'm like 20 minutes into this thing. I got him all beaten up, and I'm throwing him into this casket, and you got this like button pressing mini game, and I just, for the life of me, the computer's just pressing the buttons faster than me. I can't close the fucking door. Look it up online. I'm like, what's going on here? And yeah, it seems like it's like glitched out. A lot of people are just like, can't win this match no matter what I do, and I can't continue the game. So I guess that's it for my Rise. So I'm done with my Rise, which is unfortunate. I was having a pretty good time with it, making Kenny Omega and being a world champion, and bam, now it's so that's very unfortunate. So I'm just done with that mode now. Moved on to the showcase, where it's all about WrestleMania, going through the history of WrestleMania, recreating the amazing, all the fucking iconic matches. Randy Savage versus fucking Ricky the Dragon, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan versus Hulk Hogan. A lot of Hulk Hogan stuff at the beginning, no doubt, but I like it because it's like kind of a documentary. You get some information, you're getting highlights of the actual matches while you're playing the match and recreating the moments in the game. Very cool. Very, very cool. It's just the controls for WWE. Like, that's where the game gets, like, exposed because in these modes, they're like, hey, all right, Irish whip him into this top right corner. And that's where the game is like, oh, shit. The controls are fucking ridiculous sometimes. There's like 8 million buttons for all the moves. It's a lot. It's definitely not a very easy game to get into if you're not familiar with WWE 2K games, because it's a lot of buttons, man. There's a lot of fucking things to press and do to do the moves. And I remember in 2K23, I couldn't even fucking figure out how to pick people up. It took me forever to figure that one out. Regardless, so that's where the game can get frustrating, when it's like, all right, pick the guy up and throw him in the right corner, and you're just like, I can't stop fucking throwing him. I can't get him into that particular corner, and it's just like the guy's reversing me, and he just won't let me fucking do it, and I'm just like, man, dude, sometimes that shit gets so frustrating. So, I don't know, I'm having a mixed time right now with WWE 2K24, but I will continue to play it. It's kind of my side piece right now. Whenever I got some extra time, I'll play a little WWE 2K. All right, and what else have I been playing? Still playing through Advance Wars. I actually found a mission that I can't beat. Holy shit, man! This guy, it's very difficult. It's one of the last missions, and you're fighting the fucking flying guy. And it's really difficult because the map is covered in fog, so I don't know where any of his guys are. And he's got Harrier jets and bombers all over the place, and he's got way more people than I have access to on the field, and it is fucking, I don't know if I can figure it out, or if I want to, because it's just like a real grind. And yeah, so there are some challenging ones for sure. I'm getting close, I think, to moving off of Advance Wars 1, and I think I'll save Advance Wars 2 for another day, and I'll move on to some other Nintendo game here. But still, I actually just started playing some of the extra modes. Like, I don't know, I just picked a map, and now I'm fighting with some dude, and I'm having a good time with it. So still a lot of stuff to do in Advance Wars. Like, there's all these other modes, and you can create maps and shit. It's a hell of a package for a video game. If you like those kind of strategy games, I highly recommend Advance Wars. It's well worth the price. Even at full price, I'd say it's still good. I got it for like $50, and oh hell yeah, for that price. And I have started playing Yakuza 0. Oh buddy, got the itch for a Yakuza game. I was talking to a buddy at work, and I'm like talking about Yakuza. I'm like, oh, I've done it. I convinced myself I'm gonna play a Yakuza game, and chose Yakuza 0. I've only played Yakuza 1 in the Yakuza series, played Like a Dragon, and yeah, so I've heard many good things about Yakuza 0. It's like the highest rated one in the Yakuza games anyway, and so far so good. I'm a handful of hours in, and it's very similar so far to, it's a Yakuza game. Like, we're there, we're fighting, we're punching and kicking, but the story's been fun, interesting so far. It's the beginning of Kiryu's story with the Yakuza, and so far I've been having some fun side missions going on there. It's just good to be back in the Yakuza game, back in that world. back in that setting. And yeah, late 80s, freaking Tokyo, man, Kamurocho, whatever. Friggin' awesome. So I'm having a blast with Yakuza right now. And that's all the games I've been playing. That's all I've been up to. So there we go. Let me know what y'all have been up to. And let's talk about some freaking video games that we need remade. We need these. We need them. Okay, let us kick off the list with the game that I think if I didn't have on the list, I'd probably get tracked down and tied up by my feet and maybe get some of those cinder block shoes and tossed into a river. If I did not include Simpsons Hit and Run on the remakes list, you gotta get this game remade. Now, I didn't play this game all that much growing up. I never owned it. The only time I can remember playing this game, and I loved it, I absolutely loved it, that's why it's on this list. I also want it remade so I can enjoy it now, because I haven't gotten a chance to actually play this game all that much. I remember playing it once at my grandparents' house. My uncle brought over the GameCube, and I remember waking up way earlier than he did, and I popped in Simpsons Hit and Run, and I was just driving around and loving it. No, not playing it the way you're supposed to. You know, I was just driving around, running over people, and just having a blast, just traveling around fucking Springfield, man. Like, oh my god, I don't know if I've ever really mentioned this on the show. I am a die-hard Simpsons fan, bro. Like, the OG Simpsons seasons, I own them. I've watched them a gazillion times. The OG Simpsons, like, there was a period there, I used to watch The Simpsons I would get home from school at like 3:30. I would watch The Simpsons from 3:30 until 11:30 at night. There was, I don't know, I had satellite TV, and it would just play like a Simpsons episode here, and then like an hour later they replay that episode again, and I would just rewatch the same episodes of The Simpsons multiple times a day. It doesn't matter. So I have like a lot of the Simpsons quotes. Me and the homie Billy, we would always just be hitting each other with Simpsons quotes, and we still do, and it's still funny, and I fucking love the Simpsons. Always and forever. Those original like first 12, 13 seasons, all time. Always gonna love those seasons. And we're not gonna talk about where the Simpsons are today, because I have not kept up with the Simpsons where they're at today. I don't do that, but fucking love The Simpsons, and I would love to see The Simpsons Hit and Run remade for current gen. Give it whatever. See, the thing is, I don't really know a lot about the games, so just fucking remake it for us. Give everybody what they want. Add in some more characters. Add in some new maps. Make it do some multiplayer. Probably add in some fucking battle royale mode or some shit like that. Like, add in all the bells and whistles and shit like that. We need The Simpsons back on our consoles, man. Like, the last time I played a Simpsons game, excuse me, was the Simpsons movie video game, which is an excellent video game. I loved that game. Super underrated, but we need Simpsons Hit and Run. And what's the other one? Road Rage. We'll take Road. I think it's Hit and Run. That's the one that everyone wants. It's kind of the crazy taxi game. You're just going around Springfield, picking up people, driving them to their locations as fast as possible, and carnage ensues. And you can just, yeah, man, you can really recreate Springfield and really make the game. I imagine at this point, you can make the game look like the TV show. They haven't really done that yet with The Simpsons. They've always kind of had like the 3D situation, which it looks fine. But you look at games like South Park: The Stick of Truth, they've nailed the look of South Park into the video game. So it'd be really cool if they can manage that with The Simpsons. I just don't know if that's like a thing that can happen. Anyway, Simpsons Hit and Run. We need that shit remade. All right, up next is a game that I played fairly recently, and I think it would do so fucking good with a remake, and that game is Bully. Give us Bully back, man. Like, if we're never going to get a Bully 2, can we at least get a remaster of remake of Bully, man? Like, I don't really know, man. Like, there's a lot of like, it was already, like, way more tame than a Grand Theft Auto, right? This was kind of geared towards like teenagers. You know, if you can't convince mom to buy you Grand Theft Auto, you might be able to convince her to get you Bully, which was the opposite effect for me as a kid. My parents were fine with Grand Theft Auto, wouldn't let me have Bully. Like, what? Bully? No way. We're not going to let you play a bullying video game. But they missed the boat. They missed it. Anyway, if you remake Bully, you know, again, the name Bully, it's a hard game to market, but I don't care. Remake it anyway. Give us modernized visuals. You can definitely clean up the controls and everything, modernize the controls. You can add in some more story. You can add in some extra gameplay. You can add in like new areas. You can make the city bigger for yourself to explore. You can definitely add in more fucking little things to do around town. Oh, dude, I think it would be so freaking good. And a breath of fresh air, man. Like, that game was absolutely delightful. I love the things that they were doing. Like, instead of jacking cars and trucks, you're stealing bikes and you're riding your skateboard around. Instead of fucking machine guns, you got smoke bombs and stink bombs and slingshots and shit like that. I think it's incredibly delightful. The story was hilarious. Obviously, you got a huge cast of hilarious characters that you can do again. You know, the stupid ignorant principal. You got the freaking really disgusting cook. You got insane teachers. And dude, I think Bully would be awesome. Remaster that shit, remake it, whatever I'm fucking telling you to do. Just give me Bully, and then once you do this, it'll be such a smash hit. You'll give us Bully 2. And it'll be fuck, what's his name? I don't remember his name, but it'll be in college, and that would be dope. So there we go. Gotta get me some Bully, man. I love Bully. Up next, let's talk Banjo-Kazooie, and I'll take Tooie as well. Why not? Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. Let's get those things remade, man. Remaster those games. Now, I don't know how much you can really I think Banjo-Kazooie still holds up very well today. I think the level design is still really good. I don't like this one. I think closer would be more of just like an HD remake, but you can definitely add in some more shit. What could you add in? I don't know. Would they add in any mechanics from like Nuts and Bolts or anything? I've never played that game. I wouldn't do that to myself, but I think Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie would definitely do good in a modernized looking remaster, remake. You upgrade those graphics. You give us, I don't know, maybe some more modern controls, maybe add in another world or two or something like that, and I don't know, maybe tweak that final boss a little bit, make it a little bit more easy for freaking kids to do. And yeah, dude, I think Banjo-Kazooie would do very well on the market today. You remaster that shit. I mean, in a beautiful world, you remaster both of them, put in a nice package, and that would be awesome. Almost kind of thinking more like Spyro Reignited, Crash, Insane Trilogy type of remake for Banjo. I think that would go over really well. But you can still add in some more shit for sure. I think an extra world would be fine. And yeah, dude, I think I really would love to see Banjo-Kazooie modernized, cleaned up. And I think the gameplay, the world, the level design still holds up really good. And I think it would be great. So let's do Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. Why the hell not? And then we can finally get Banjo-Kazooie 3. We will not discuss Nuts and Bolts. We're just not going to do that. Up next is a game that I've actually never played before, and there are a few games on this list that are just games I've never played before, and they're hard to get a hold of, and I think that the only way I think I'll be able to get my hands on some of these games is if they finally get a remake, and a game I think would do really well from just what I've heard of it. I've heard about this game a ton, and that game is Dino Crisis. I've heard about this game. I remember reading about it in magazines way back in the day, and even back then, everyone just calls it Resident Evil with dinosaurs, and I'm like, I'm all about that. I like dinosaurs. I love Resident Evil, and dinosaurs are scary. I watched Jurassic Park when I was a young man, and that movie's fucking terrifying. Absolutely horrifying movie, and I've always been a little bit scared of dinosaurs. I played a Jurassic Park video game when I was a kid, and that game scared the fucking shit out of me, so I could absolutely see a Dino Crisis RE2 remake, RE4 remake, 3 remake style of game work phenomenally. Just I think that would just be great. Like, I hear a lot of clamoring for Dino Crisis to come back. I don't know what happened with Dino Crisis. It seemed like it was a pretty popular franchise and then it just kind of went away. But I think there was 3 games. Regardless, I do want to try one of them out. They have Dino Crisis on the PlayStation Plus thingy, just sitting there. I've never played one, but I think if you remake the game, give it the RE2 remake style, and yeah, dude, dinosaurs, you can make... And I just think horror games in this generation right now are thriving. How you put it on that RE engine as well, and just, it's going to look so gruesome. The dinosaurs are going to be so scary. I would personally love to see Dino Crisis come back in that RE2 fashion remake and just print money, bro. Like, I believe, I am guessing that Capcom has the rights to that, and dude, they're crushing it right now. And just to add in Dino Crisis, bring that franchise back, I think you would crush it, man, because I know Resident Evil's still going strong, but you are running out of remakes. Not really. There's still a lot of Resident Evils to be remade, but eventually you're going to run out. You're going to run out eventually, and then you can go to Dino Crisis, and I think that would be so sick. I would love to experience that, and if they did, announce that kind of thing, I would totally play one of the originals just to see. Kind of like how it was with Resident Evil 1. I just want to see where it was and how much of a difference they can make with a Dino Crisis in that RE remake engine. I think it would be freaking phenomenal. Make dinosaurs horrifying again. And yeah, dude, I'm down. I really would love to see that. That's a big one for me. Up next, we have a PS2 game. PS2 game that I grew up on, and that is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I think this game would be hella awesome in a remake. Now, they have the Forgotten Sands, Lands, or whatever the fuck, the newest one. Actually, it might be called The Lost Crown. I don't know completely, but it was a Metroidvania style of game. Now, I haven't played it personally yet. I know it's very highly touted. I want to play it. I'll get there. And maybe I would want it remade in that style, but for now, I would just want it remade in the 3D fashion that it was back then. Now, sadly, that's the only one I played in that PS2 trilogy. I didn't get to play the other 2 games on PS2, but Sands of Time, man, like that time reversing mechanic, I think would just be so fucking cool to do that again now. With modern consoles, more powerful, you could probably do some really wild shit with that rewinding ability. I thought it was so cool back in the day. It was just, it's so badass and shit. But yeah, I think that would be a really fun mechanic. Bring that back. Fuck, who knows? Maybe they've already done that in that newest Metroidvania. I wouldn't be against it, doing it in a Metroidvania style with the rewinding ability. That's what I want. I want that rewinding ability. I think that was so freaking cool in that game. I don't even know if they continued on with that mechanic in the other 2 games. Really should have played those games. I really don't know what I was doing with myself back then. They even had like the HD remake of those on PS3. I didn't even pick that up. Like, what the heck was I thinking? I didn't play a Prince of Persia game again until like the 2008 or 9 reboot. And that game was just like, okay, it was fine, looked gorgeous, but it was very hand-holdy, literally hand-holdy. Every time you die, a girl grabs your hand and pulls you up and you're safe again. It's all good, but regardless, I think Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, I would love to see that game come back with the time mechanic and all that shit modernized, looking really good. And from what I can remember, I felt like that I haven't played in a very, very long time, but I feel like most of that level design would be okay. You could definitely clean up the combat, make that more intense, make that more meaty and heavy, and oh, hell yeah, man. I think that would go over very well. I would love to see a Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. Now we go back to the PS1 with a franchise I have not touched, but I would love to see it come back so that I could play it, and that is Parasite Eve. 1 and 2, sure, why not? We'll start with 1, but again, this is a game I have not played, but I've heard like podcasts on this one. I've seen this game, and it just seems so fucking cool, and I just want it remade. Remake it, give us all modern graphics, all that shit, and just bring back Parasite Eve. I want it. That's really all I can say about it. I don't know a whole lot about the game, but give me I don't know if you can go, like, if you want to go as far as to Final Fantasy VII, like, fucking, oh yeah, dude, give me that shit. I think Parasite Eve, just very cool concept that I cannot remember about it right now. So we'll move on to Metal Gear Solid 2. Oh yeah, let's do 2. They're doing 3, which is fine. I mean, you can go with 1 as well, though that game kind of already has a remake in Twin Snakes, I think it's called, that was released on GameCube. If they just re-released that, I would be okay. But sure, I would take a full ground-up remake like they're doing with Metal Gear Solid 3 for Metal Gear Solid 1. But I think Metal Gear Solid 2 is in much more dire need of that remake than the first game. Though it doesn't make sense because right now they're doing 3, which follows the storyline. It goes 3, 1, 2, 4, 5 fits in there somewhere too, but fuck that. We're not talking. 5's different. That's a totally different situation. Regardless, 1 would be the one they go to next, but I think 2 would really do well with a remaster. It really needs it. The controls need to be modernized. Like it just doesn't play very well. I remember trying to replay it a while back, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid 3. Like the controls are rough. Just give me the Metal Gear Solid 5 controls and we should be good. Like it's rough, man. Like in Metal Gear Solid 2, I believe your options are crawl or walk and run. Like there's no crouch like walking. So it's rather you're literally crawling through the game or you're running and probably getting caught. So there's a lot of crawling. Clean that shit up. Clean up the combat controls. You can make the CQC a lot easier and you can add in a lot more moves. Definitely make that more accessible to use. You can improve the shooting. And yeah, dude, you get that stealth gameplay. I think those bosses would be pretty interesting. Some of that fucking fat dude on the roller skates. And then the question, you can redeem Raiden, man. You can redeem Raiden and his story in this game. You can make him not so much of a little bitch, and you can make him more of the Raiden that I know and love. The badass cyborg ninja. Now, he won't probably be a cyborg ninja in this one just yet, but you can make him less of a little bitch, I guess. Even though, if you actually played the game, you played through the whole thing, he's not that much of a little bitch. He has his moments where he is a little bitch, but for the most part, he's not a little bitch. And yes, and then maybe you can right that wrong. You kind of fucked over all the fans, man. You sold them a false bill of goods. You were selling us a Snake adventure. We're playing as Snake on modern PS2 graphics. It's going to be amazing. And a whoop, swerve, you're playing as fucking Raiden all of a sudden, and nobody wanted that. So maybe you can right that wrong. At least, like, give us the option to play as Snake throughout the entire game, I guess. I don't know, but I need all my Metal Gear Solids to get remastered and all that shit. So happy I'm getting 3. That's fantastic. It's all the same shit that I said about 2 basically applies for 3. Like, especially the controls, the fact that there is no crouch walking is just, it's devastating, man. Like, I went from 4, where they have the crouch walking, the running, the walking, the crawling, to have all those options, and then to go back where it's crawling or you're walking, and it's just like, whoof, it's really slow and not the best. So you modernize those the controls. Importantly, that's the most important thing. Graphics, sure, leave the story alone. You should be fine. Make Raiden less of a little bitch, and we should be good, man. I would love to see Metal Gear Solid 2. And as long as everything goes well with Metal Gear Solid 3, which, as far as I can tell, from previews and from what I'm hearing, it should be great. So, if it goes over well, sells pretty good, we should be getting some more of the Metal Gear Solid games remastered, and that makes the daddy happy. Alright, up next, we're going back to the Super Nintendo, and we're talking Earthbound. Now, Earthbound, you can do a lot with this game, man. Like, you look at the art style of Earthbound on N64, and if you're just looking at a picture of it, you don't know anything about the game, you're like, what the fuck is that? Kind of looks like a child drew up this game, and it's kind of got a quirky art style, and it kind of looks like a kid's game, but it is anything but. It is a phenomenal RPG, very quirky. Now, what would you do with that in a remake fashion? Would you just kind of keep the quirkiness and just let it be remade in like an Undertale style? Like, kind of keep that old school quirky graphics, but if you're gonna do that, then you pretty much just leave the game alone, right? But if you want to like really change it up, do you do like a 2D 3D like remake of the game in that Live Alive, whatever 2D 3D that they're doing now, and like really make the game pop? But is that going to take away from the charm of the game? I don't know, man. Like all I want people to experience this game. They have options to, like, it is available to you on the Switch online thing, which is great. But I don't know, man. It just if people just look at the game, they might be turned off by it. So I don't know, man. I would love to see it. I just don't know how I would want them to go about it. Like, what makes Earthbound so special is like how quirky and strange and different it was from all the other games on the market back then. Like, you got your Final Fantasies and all these crazy creatures, and like you got Earthbound where you're playing as kids with yo-yos and you're fighting slimes, and like, I don't know, man. Like, I just think it would really hit very well if they remade it in like an indie fashion, but you can also just like really go all out with it and do a full like 3D thing of it. But I don't know how well that would go over. Like, if you look at Ness, how he looks in Smash and stuff like that, he's like fully 3D modeled, and would you do something like that with him? I don't know, I think that would be rather interesting. I just really want Earthbound modernized so people can experience this game now and how weird and quirky it was. Just really strange game. So that would be sick, and then we can get maybe Mother back on track and we get some more Mother games, and that would be really cool. So Earthbound, I would love to see remade. Just don't really know 100% how I would want it remade. So let me know, how would you remake Earthbound if you could? Up next, we got Final Fantasy 9. I'm going to go with 9. That is the one that has been getting some speculation around it that it could be the next game to get the Final Fantasy 7 remake, which makes me very happy. No disrespect to 8. I think 8 could also qualify for that. Sadly, I have not played that game. I have some memories of the game from a kid watching my cousins play it, and I also owned all the toys for some reason, but never played the game. I plan on playing it hopefully this year. I would love to get Final Fantasy 8 done this year and see what that game's all about. But 9 is one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasies. I played it for the first time just a couple of years ago, and I loved it. I thought it was spectacular, and it would be a nice change of pace because it's definitely a different tone to Final Fantasy. I love the theme where it's a medieval timeline, not quite like kind of like 16, but it's definitely not as dark. Final Fantasy 9 is a much more cheery, bright, colorful style of Final Fantasy. Very nice. I love the characters. Zane, you get all them. Fucking Vivi, even though I know people don't like Vivi, but still, I think that game would be awesome. And there's a great story there. A really great villain. Some twists, some turns. The play sequence, I think, would be so awesome. You remake all of that, man. You modernize the world. Big 3D fucking world to experience. I don't think you have to break it up into a whole bunch of parts. Like, you could probably get 2 parts out of it. I don't know. They could push 3. Who knows? But I would love that for the next remake they go for to be Final Fantasy 9. Even though I think 8 would be, again, they can go back to 8. I'm fine with that. But it sounds like they're going to 9 next. Just a different tone change, because like 7 and 8 are not going to say they're exactly the same, but 9 is definitely the outlier in that 3-game trilogy on PS1. It's brighter, it's colorful, it's lighter in tone, and I think it would be spectacular. Give it a nice colorful art style. This one you can even maybe do in like a 2D 3D art style, and I think maybe that would go over really well. But looks like they're going to do the full Final Fantasy VII rebuild, and I think that would be awesome for Final Fantasy 9. Gimme, and then we can do 8, and we can do 6, and we can do all of them if you want to. You can literally do them all, and that's fine with me. All right, let us go to a forgotten racing series on PlayStation 3 that I refuse to forget about, and that is MotorStorm. Give me MotorStorm. Give me Forza Horizon style MotorStorm and print money. Just printing $100 bills out there. I loved MotorStorm, man. Like, you're You're just in these variety of cars, the fucking monster trucks, dump trucks. You got motorcycles, people flipping each other off, punching at each other. It was carnage, and you're driving down the fucking side of an active volcano, and shit is going crazy, and it's awesome. And you're mixing all the vehicles together. There's like 16 vehicles, all different varieties. Like I said, you got like mud trucks, little fucking... You got cars and mud trucks. It's just awesome, man. I fucking loved MotorStorm. Pacific Rift or something, I think it was. Love that game. There's PSP games. My wife and I love MotorStorm. I even got my dad to play MotorStorm back in the day. He really liked MotorStorm. Gorgeous looking video game for PS3. I think they still look really good, but bring back MotorStorm. Give me that shit in fucking Forza Horizon where I can pick a huge variety of all those different vehicles and I can drive them around in this big open crazy world, man. You got mountain area, you got like active volcano area over here, you got the sandy beaches over here, you got like fucking the dunes over there. Like, it would just be so sick. And then you're throwing in challenges all throughout, crazy jumps, crazy drifts, races, fucking like destruction derbies, flip-off matches, like all that. You can do like a road rage mode where it's like motorcycles and ATVs and everyone gets weapons and you're just fucking beating the shit out of each other. Oh, I would love that, man. I would absolutely love that. Turn every racing franchise that isn't Horizon style, turn them all Horizon style, but most importantly, give me MotorStorm. Open world that shit and just let me roam and ride around on all these different wild vehicles, and I think it would be fucking amazing. Give me that shit, please, and thank you. Next up is Resident Evil 5. Oh yeah, baby. I unapologetically love Resident Evil 5. One of my favorites of all time, even though I know it is kind of the one of the nails that broke, or the final nails in the coffin for Resident Evil, where it really just kind of jumped the shark in Resident Evil 6, and nobody liked that, but Resident Evil 5, I adore. Still love Resident Evil 5. Love the co-op, played it so many times with the homie Billy. I remember there was one day me and him played through it co-op together, and then he went home, and we texted each other, like, yo, I just started up playing Resident Evil 5 again. I was like, yeah, dude, me too. It's just, I couldn't get enough of Resident Evil 5. Now, I do know that the co-op feature definitely takes away from the horror that is Resident Evil, but that's the way they chose. So I'm down with them to do the RE remake. Give me 5. Give me the co-op. Give me Africa. Give me all the things. Give me Chris Redfield and his ridiculously over-steroided arms punching boulders. Give me all that. Give me Wesker. I found you. And I want that, man. I don't even care. All the negativity towards Resident Evil 5, I just don't have that. I do not have that negativity towards the game. I love it. I think it's awesome. Honestly, at this point, this is probably where they should have done like a Devil May Cry situation where they're making RE5 and been like, yo, you know what? We're straying too far away. Let's just make a different game. Let's call this something else. And I think they could have gone down they could have made a different franchise where it's a co-op buddy action fucking action adventure game where I think that would have been awesome. And then you have your Resident Evil still where it's more scary. That would have been, I think that could have been fun. It's a butterfly effect moment. Back in the day, they stuck it out and they kept Resident Evil, and not a lot of people liked it, but I love it. I would be very happy to see Resident Evil 5 getting that remake. Yeah, dude, that's all I want. I mean, it's pretty sure it will happen at some point. They're remaking all of them. They may go to Code Veronica next. They might go Zero next. They might go Resident Evil 1. Who knows where they're going to go? They also have to get Resident Evil 9 out. So at some point, I know it's definitely in the works. They want to get RE5 out there, but going to be interesting what they do. Like, do they stick with the path that they had in RE5 where it is a little bit more action-y? I still think it has the scares, man. There's definitely scares in that game. They could intensify the scares, absolutely. With the way that graphics look now, things look a lot scarier. They could add in some scarier shit and just make the game more horrifying than it was. Though, you can't really avoid the co-op thing, man. Like, the game was designed around co-op. I don't think they can really take it out, so you're probably stuck with it. They can make it better. Shiva, they can make her AI better, even though I thought she was okay. Like, it'll get better. And yeah, dude, I am so down for Resident Evil 5 Remake. I can't wait. I hope it has all the co-op and I could play it with the homie Billy again, and we could do that all over again and again and again and again. And then eventually they'll get to 6, and that's going to be interesting, man. They could have a chance to fix it, or they could just leave it as the way it is, and we'll just forget that Resident Evil 6 ever happened. Let us move on back to the GameCube with a game I have not played, and that is Eternal Darkness. Now, with Eternal Darkness, there are some things you would have to change. Now, they have some of those, like, third wall breaking moments where they're like, we changed we changed the thing on your TV, but, you know, TVs don't look like that now, so what you could do is just make the TV, like, make it look like it turned off. Like, you can do shit like it's not hard to fix those kind of things, but I think you can just take those ideas, the way that you're kind of losing your mind, and fuck around with the real life gamer. Like, make the screen like fucking zoom really in or zoom really out and make it really blurry, or you could do a whole bunch of visual things to fuck with the gamer and make it feel like you're going crazy as well with the person inside the video game. You know, I think about Amnesia a little bit with their kind of like psychotic mechanic where if you spend too much time in the dark, like, your visuals get fucked up. You start hearing, like, your teeth crackling. And if it gets really bad, you see, like, bugs start fucking crawling out of you. And you're like, oh, shit. Like, they can really manipulate the gamer in really unique ways with today's technology, man. Like, they have, like, imagine it on, like, a PlayStation 5 controller. Like, they can make it, like, really difficult for you to pull the trigger. Like, oh, open this door. And you're like, I fucking can't. Like, the trigger won't go down. And then they could I think it would be I think there's a lot of really fucking cool things they can do with modern gaming things to fuck with the gamer and just make that kind of experience that, yeah, maybe it doesn't age well in 5 to 10 years, but if you have that experience in the moment, it'll stick with you for the rest of your life, you know? People that played Eternal Darkness back in the day and thought their fucking game just got erased. Like, you could do that now. Just be like, oh, your hard drive got corrupted. You fuck you. You need a whole new PlayStation, or you need a whole new Switch. Oh, just kidding. Boss fight, or, you know, shit like that. I would love it. I love a game that just fucks with the gamer, psychotic video game. I think it'd be sick. So give me Eternal Darkness and fuck with me. I dare you. Fuck with me. All right. Up next, we got Dark Souls. Oh, yeah. So they did Demon Souls. Now I want Dark Souls. I thought Demon Souls was awesome. Though that game took a piece of my life and would not give it back. I platinumed that game, and I will never platinum a FromSoft game ever again. That was just too much. But I think Dark Souls would be fucking prime for a remaster. You know, remake, whatever it has to be. Now, the level design, pretty untouchable, right? The world, that map of Dark Souls is one of the best. How it just all connects together. It's very confusing, but like once you figure it out, you're like, oh shit, like everything connects. Very, very cool. Modernize the graphics, maybe tighten up the gameplay a little bit there. And yeah, dude, I think you would have a game that sells a lot. Dark Souls is way more popular than Demon Souls was. I really appreciate that they did the Demon Souls remaster, because it was the first one. There were some very interesting ideas they tried in that game that just didn't work out. The whole light dark world system was just very, very confusing. But I think Dark Souls is primed and ready for that exact kind of remaster, remake. You give us, oh my goodness, you're fighting those bosses all over again. Fucking, was it Smo and, the other, I don't know, those two fucking son of a bitches. Anyway, I beat them first try, not a big deal. Not a big deal, and you throw in all the DLC in there as well, and yeah, dude, I think that would be awesome. That does kind of fall more under the remastered, you know, more modernized graphics, but fuck it, I don't give a shit. Give me Dark Souls, I want that again, and put everybody through that misery one more time. Now we head back to the N64. Do you know what game I will choose? There's a lot of games that you could choose, but the one I want most is Diddy Kong Racing. Give me that shit. Now, I know that Nintendo probably won't do it because they have Mario Kart, and they more than likely wouldn't want to fuck with the Mario Kart sales, though I don't think it would do anything to the sales of Mario Kart. I think it would only enhance it to have a different option there. And what was awesome about Diddy Kong is that they got different types of races. You can do the airplane, the water, the cart, so you can do that. You can even add in more vehicles, different options, I don't know, ATVs, fucking a whole bunch of shit, helicopters, I don't know. And I like the way, I've never gone through the whole entire game. I played it numerous times throughout my childhood. This uncle had it, that cousin had it, play a little bit here and there. I own a copy of it, but it's a hard game, man. That was a hard video game. I couldn't get through all the races, but it's super fun, man. And you definitely kind of clean up those characters. The character selector in there is very random. There's like, Conker's in here, but before Bad Fur Day, and there's like a turtle, and you're like, who the fuck? Where's Donkey Kong? Add in the Kong characters, more Kong characters, add in some, you can add in so many characters, man. Make a whole bunch of new maps, remaster all the regular maps, and dude, it would just be sensational. I would love to have that. And it's a little bit open worldy, right? You could add in some more shit there. Add in like some fucking stunt jumps and like weird little challenges to sprinkle out throughout the little world there. You got that fucking elephant dude that's singing that doo 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 doo. Oh, that's a different song right there. But I remember that guy always walking around, changing your vehicles on the fly. They can even do that like mid-race. Like, maybe they already do that, but I think it would be sweet to have like a 3-vehicle race. And like, you start out on the cart, and then boom, you're into the watercraft, and boom, you're in the sky, and then back to the ground, you could do races like that. Add in a double dash. I don't know, there's a lot of shit you can do, but we all want Diddy Kong Racing back, y'all. It needs to be modernized. I remember it like not running the best, but you fucking give me 60 frames per second, fucking 4K graphics, like, oh baby, that would be sensational. I really want some Diddy Kong Racing. Bring that shit back. It's just, why would they when they have Mario Kart? Why have 2 kart racers? I get it, but fuck it. I don't care. I want it. Up next, we got a game that I really don't know what I would want done with it just yet, but Chrono Trigger. We got to talk Chrono Trigger. I think the game could honestly just get re-released the exact way that it is, and it would be just dandy. But if you wanted to do the Live Alive 2D, 3D upgrade, you can absolutely do that. Or you can go crazy. Give me the full Final Fantasy VII Remake. Build that shit up. Build up that world. Make it a full 3D, AAA, quadruple A experience. Give me Chrono. Give me Frog. Give me all that shit. Time traveling. Multiple endings. Like, this is a game that you could replay numerous times and still get different endings. Just, oh my goodness, that would be phenomenal. I just don't know if it would translate good to a 3D style, Like, I'm just trying to picture it, Chrono in a 3D situation. Like, is that what I would want? Would Frog look normal in a 3D situation? Like, I just don't know. I think a safe bet would be the 2D, 3D remaster. Just fucking, I still think the game looks gorgeous, but you modernize that shit, and I think the game is still so good today. I love the what do you call it? The teaming up in the combat. You can team up with people and create these cool moves, and I love the time traveling situation. The story's great. The characters are great. It's a timeless game, man. It's one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Period. And I would love to see this world recreated, remade in a full AAA package, and oh man, I would cry. I think I would cry. Give me all the music again, it would be phenomenal. I would love it so friggin' much. One of these days. All right, we're down to the final game, and the game that inspired me to make this list, and that was the announcement of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remastered, remake, whatever. And I'll address the little controversy that is going on with the game right now. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. That game is different than 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 follow like a level situation where it's like, here's a timer, here's the level, go out and do as much of the challenges as possible in a run. And in 4, it was more like, here's the level, roam around, do what you want, find, like, there's missions to find throughout the levels, and you go find them and do them. They're not going to do that with 4. which is very disappointing for a lot of fans. I get it. Me too, man. Like, I grew up on 4. I didn't play 1, 2, and 3. I had 4, so I'm used to that. How it's just, you're just roaming around, you're like, oh, there's a dude over there, let's go talk to him, and oh, he's got something for me to do. I don't think it's going to be all that big of a deal. If it's just, they make it more of that level style, they're still going to have, like, all the things that you did in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. It's just going to be presented to you a little differently, and not in a free skate mode, which, you know, 9-year-old me, 8-year-old me, or whatever would be pissed, because that's what I did, man. I just went and free skate, and I would just skate around fucking Alcatraz and all that shit. The college, So that's a little bit disappointing for sure. I'm still there day one for it, because it's coming out on Game Pass, so I'm absolutely going to be there. If I had to buy it, you know, I would definitely be like, oh, I guess I'll just wait for a sale or something regardless. I don't think it's all that big of a deal. It's disappointing for sure, but it makes sense, man. It's just going to make it easier for them to make the game, and it's still going to be awesome, man. It's going to be awesome. But with that being said, we get Tony Hawk's Underground. Now, in a perfect world, we get Underground 1 and 2, but 2 is going to be very, very tricky because there's a lot of Bam Margera in that game, and they're not putting Bam Margera in 3 and 4. He's, you know, going through a lot of shit in his life right now, and they wouldn't want him in the video game. Wouldn't be a good look. And he's like kind of the star of Underground 2. It's like him versus Tony Hawk. I've never played the game. I didn't play Underground 2. I played Underground 1, and I love it. But, damn, dude, I don't know if they could do 2. It'd be great if they can. I wouldn't be shocked if the next one is just Tony Hawk's Underground, just the one singular game. And that's fine with me, because Tony Hawk's Underground is like where they really started to open up the game. They took what they had in 4, where it's like open and you can run around, and they doubled down on that. You can get off the board now. You can like climb on shit, and it's awesome. And there's like a legitimate story there where like you're coming from fucking this shitty little town, I think in New Jersey, and then you build your way up, and then you're fucking McTwisting over a helicopter in the end. Oh, fuck yeah. So you know we're getting there eventually, right? The success of 1 and 2, I imagine 3 and 4 is going to be awesome, and then bam, everyone's going to be clamoring for Underground. So we're going to get that at some point. Do the thing. Just give me the 1 and 2, 3 and 4 style remake. Give me modern graphics, fucking tighten up the controls, and oh buddy, I'll be a happy, happy boy. And I have not played Underground since the one weekend that I played it. I don't remember if I rented it or if my uncle had it, but I played it on Xbox, the OG Xbox, destroyed that game in a weekend, and I had a blast. I listened to Detroit Rock City 4 million times, and I'm just done with that song completely, as I am done with this list. That is all the games that I put on my list. I could make another list for another day, but let me know about the games you want remastered the most. I feel like there's so many games on PS1 that could get remade. Like I can just go into the PS1s and just do a whole list on PS1 games that I would love to get remastered, remade, and all that shit. Well, yeah, there we go, everybody. Another episode down. Thank you so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more of the best. Make sure you're reviewing and sharing the podcast around with a few of your closest friends and maybe a couple of your enemies. Why not? And I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GX Videos. Link in the description. Go over there and subscribe, please and thank you. And drop a comment on one of the videos. You want a question answered live on the pod, just drop a question on a podcast episode in the comment section, or whatever the fuck I'm trying to say here. Anything about wrestling, video games, or hockey would be preferred. Shout you out, answer your question, be a lot of fun. And in terms of what else we got going on with the podcast this week, wrestling recap, gonna have that going on this week after Elimination Chamber and Revolution and all that shit. I have a Revolution pay-per-view review if you missed out on that one. Did that earlier this week. I did the full recap of all the trades that went down during the trade deadline in the NHL, breaking down all the trades, the winners, the losers, who did good, who did bad, and all that great stuff. Dallas did very, very well. And for what else we got going on? Next week, well, it's a little far away to determine what the GamerCast is going to be. I am working on a Yakuza review, and there's tons of stuff we could do. I don't know 100% what I'm going to do just yet, but there'll be something for you, so yeah, I think that'll do it. Thank you, everybody, again, so much for listening. We'll be back again with some GX Plus, guys.